this is the key to the beginning of your pitch with your prospects. Okay? So, what would be your answer, Ajay?
Well, I think there's no doubt on that. It relates to everyone, and everything is very important. Each point for
Yeah.
everyone.
So, today I'm going to elaborate slightly on. It's good to see you face to face, Willie. When we look at these five items, okay, I want to emphasize one point is that all these items, whether it's health or healthcare costs or retirement funds, okay, and I put a word there that says extended. What do you understand by the term extended retirement funds? If you're going to talk to your prospect about this, you need to be a little bit more straight to the point. And I'm gonna share this with you today about getting straight to the point. Okay, your prospect is gonna ask you, but statistical life expectancy is not more than 80. Why do I need to bother with now 20 years? You're gonna answer that question very spot on. And I'm gonna tell you this now. Yeah, that the current life expectancy might be 80 years old. Within the next 10 years, before you hit 50, Pranab, okay, before you hit 50, 55, another 10 years, you're going to find that the statistical life expectancy is going to be extended from 80 to 90. So if you're going to tell somebody now that, hey, you know what, I'm planning for 100, they'll say that you have no basis for adopting that. Okay, so you got to make. You remember what I keep saying. It is not what you say, but how your audience understand you that matters. So you need to make sure your audience understand what you're talking about. So if you make a claim like, I'm preparing for 100, they're gonna say this guy is crazy. Why bother with 100? You need to be able to make them believe that you are doing something sensible. Okay. Now, the technological advancements over the next 10 years, including medical advancements, is going to be such that you're going to extend that statistical number from 80 to 90. Okay? And by that time, you're probably 60 or 70 years old. And the next 10 years after that is going to extend that statistical number from 90 to 100. So, why I said the extended retirement fund is that most people are going to miscalculate. They're going to say that the expected lifespan is 80 years old. I'm now 60 years old. Therefore, I shall plan for another 20 years. But the thing is that another 10 years, they find that they've severely miscalculated, that their life expectancy is no longer 80 at that time, but 90. So how are they going to plan for the additional 10, 20, 30 years thereafter? Unless you are looking at a passive income that doesn't stop. Okay? Make sense? So, depending on the audience that you are talking to, right? Okay, certain audience would be mature enough to see this. If you are talking to a 20-year-old, right, or 30-year-old, they may not be seeing this so clearly. Okay, because a 30-year-old is going to think that, hey, you know what? I'm like Lion King now. I can go on for another 30 years without any problem. Okay, but by the time they hit 60, it's too late. They didn't plan for it. Like I said earlier, Noah built his ark before it started to rain. So therefore, passive income do not come immediately. It takes at least a few years to build it. Okay, few years if you're under proper guidance, proper mentoring, that you head off in the right direction. okay, and that there are no accidents along the way. You get there within a short time. Okay. Now you guys have this silver lining in lockdown, that we all now have Zooms. So easily to have mentoring sessions where you avoid pitfalls, you avoid holes in the highway. Okay. So you now have this extended retirement that people miss out on. And then point number 5 is when people say, when we talk about children's education, in Singapore, they all say that you're looking at a minimum of $1 million for each child. Okay. And then I have more mature audience that tells me, but my children is all grown up, they all have their own their own career to deal with. I don't have to worry about their education cost anymore. But you know what? If you look at the video from Eric Worre, right? There is a part in there where Robert Kiyosaki says, the working poor. Do you understand by that term, working poor? Okay. Does everybody understand that term? This is very important to understand. If you understand, put your thumbs up. If not, I will explain a little bit.
You're saying about the employees?
So, Robert Kiyosaki was talking about the working poor nowadays. It means that they have a job, but whatever their earnings are, it's not even enough for their regular upkeep. And that's becoming more and more common. Yeah. So it means that the current generation of the working poor, they graduate from university, and you find that they get a job or whatever they are doing, but it's not even enough for them to look after themselves or their spouse, not to say their children. So if you want to be looking at a little bit further, you will be looking at perhaps your passive income being able to bring to give a helping hand to the next generation and the next. Okay, you get my point. So therefore, this is why Rajiv, for example, has had Kangen ID set for his wife, and potentially some of the IDs that would be for his children later. Yeah? And the other interesting thing was that there was sometime last year I met with one of Manish Saka's prospect in Bangalore. Okay, and she's a final year student. And when I explained to her how Kangen Express is done, she got very excited, and I said to her, how would you like to be the first student in India to graduate with a retirement fund, with a passive income? Okay. So you see, she didn't come from a poor family, Of course, as a student, she said, I would need to invest this amount for the machine to get my ID franchise and all that. And I said, but your parents can easily afford one. And she said, yes. So she could take a loan from the parents, invest in the ID, do the business, and in less than 2 years when she graduates, she would have a line of passive income that she could easily take care of whatever, And that is what I was talking about last night, right? How many of you actually understood when I said the term vocational freedom?
That was a new feather.
I would like you all to type in the group chat as to what you understand by vocational freedom in one sentence. No need to be too long. Just tell me what you understand by vocational freedom. It's something that probably none of you has heard of. Come on, guys. Type in in a phrase or a sentence what you understand by vocational freedom. Your participation is important. You see, this is what I was. Thinking that some of you may not fully understand when I say vocational. There are two different words, vocation and vacation. Okay, Gaurav is talking about vacation. I'm talking about vocation. Do you know the difference between the two? Vacation is having holidays. Vocation is your life calling. You have people that has hobbies. Okay, you may find an architect working in a consulting firm, and you ask him what you really want to do. I always wanted to be a photographer, for example. So their vocation will be to be a photographer. Okay, you have another guy working in another company. Ask them what do you want to do. He says, well, my wish has always been to be a teacher. So that is a vocation, not vacation. Okay, so Praveen says passion with earnings. Well, let's talk about passion for something they want to do. And Praveen says passion with earnings means that his passion has always been the financial freedom that we talked about. So the vocation can be financial freedom, but it doesn't need to be. And last night I mentioned a sentence in one of the slides, and I said that you can have a choice to do what you want and not what you need to. Did you understand that?
What do you have to do and want to do?
Have you met, that works for a company and they say, I wish I can do this, because if you have the freedom to choose your vocation, it means that every day actually is a holiday. You don't need to have a vacation because whatever you want to do is a vacation. Get my point?
Yeah. When you enjoy doing work, there is no work for you.
Yeah. So you could be looking at financial freedom. You can look at, and in the past you can say that, okay, I am looking for the ultimate, which is a time freedom, right? So the question here is what comes after the time freedom? You have all the time to do what you want, and then what? Then next comes vocational freedom. You get to do what you want, because that's going to make a difference between when you talk to your prospect about the 5 pointers earlier. Okay? And the 5 pointers earlier, some of you, if you have missed it, I'm going to push out the poll one more time so that you can see the 5 pointers. These 5 pointers are very important in your prospecting process. Okay, you need to remember these 5 things. You can change the 5 things. You can change 1 or 2 of the 5 things, but generally all 5 are valid for you. But if you just say what you think the words say, you're only just going to be touching the surface, and that's not going to make an impact. You want to be an effective influencer, you need to understand those 5 terms in depth. Okay, you need to understand what it means by item number 5 in terms of children education costs. You need to understand what it means by extended retirement funding that we've just covered over the past 15 minutes. Okay, so So that extended retirement funds actually is linked to the other first three items. How is it linked is that your financial independence can only last for so many years if it is not passive income. If it is active income, you have savings that will last you so many years. Okay, unless you keep getting passive income regularly, ongoing, that financial independence is going to run out as well. Your healthcare costs you've calculated for the next 20 years. Okay, and if you did not allow for extended tenure of your lifespan, you're going to miscalculate as well. Okay, and including, of course, your health. So I'm going to leave that point now, yeah, and so everybody understands this very important initial step in talking to your prospects. Yeah, Ajay.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the reason why you need to be talking about Kangen business on top of Kangen machines. Okay, you do not want to stop at just Kangen machines because only 20%, one out of five items are relating to health. 4 out of 5 are relating to money matters. Okay, now I'm repeating this over and over again to make everybody appreciate how important this is. That out of 100 people you meet, 80 are going to be looking at money concerns. Only 20 is going to be looking at non-money concerns. So do you want to miss out on 80% of your prospects? Obviously not. So these 5 would be a hypothetical situation that you can share with your prospects to get them into your listening mode. Okay, when we look at brain lateralization, okay, that module I emphasize the importance of having your prospect close themselves. Okay, they have to initiate that closing themselves. Otherwise, you're not going to change their mindset. The easiest way to change a person's mindset is to let them close themselves, right? And the best way to close themselves is actually to get them to tell you. So you could start the conversation by saying that, hey, you know what do you think are some of the most important concerns in life nowadays? It can be philosophically speaking, it can be theoretically speaking, but start the conversation that way, and let them tell you. And if they are at a loss, you could help them along and say, you know what, there's a famous saying that health is wealth. You can start the conversation with health is wealth and then expand from there. But don't do all the talking because they need to participate. When they participate, then you are closing them themselves. You don't have to close them. They will be closing themselves when they participate. Okay?
Get involved.
Yes, they are involved in that decision-making process, not just you deciding. So you go through that 5 items. Okay, the 5 items may vary by 1 or 2, but generally it's there. Okay, you could be speaking to a bachelor who doesn't have a family. There are quite a number of candidates out there who are not married and don't have children. Item 5 may not be so valid, right? Then you replace that number 5 with lifestyle factors. If they do not have a family of their own, what becomes the most important next would be their friends. Their friends and community, right? So how do they maintain that liaison with friends and community is that it is the next thing to lifestyle costs. You go out with friends, you gotta have some cost, right? It's not gonna be free all the time. So to maintain that and so on and forth. So we're not talking about, hey, you know what? I can decide to stay home and do nothing the whole time. You can, but that's not exactly a life, is it? Okay. So we are looking at replacing item 5 with an alternative when the situation requires it. So now you have an opening discussion, right? You have an opening discussion. Now, the other thing is that a lot of people shy away from sales and marketing. Okay? A lot of people shy away from sales and marketing. Now, let me ask you this question. What is the one thing that you find a unique feature of Kangen Express system? Tell me. What is the one unique feature of Kangen Express system? Okay? And the one thing you must realize from Kangen Express system, the system does not need you to sell. Remember this. Kangen Express do not need you to sell anything. You're sharing the business opportunity. That's all. Now, when you sign up your A, B, C, and D, right? Did you actually pitch them in selling them a machine? You don't. You were sharing with them a business opportunity, a business franchise system. They invest in a machine which is part of the business investment, not buying a machine per se. Get my point? So you must be able to differentiate this. You are inviting someone to a business opportunity, a business investment. They invest 3.5 lakhs to earn 80 lakhs in the first year. That is your investment. Okay? And when it's an investment, they don't see it as an expense. It is an investment with returns. An expense is potentially a payment with no returns, monetary returns. You can say there's health returns, yes, but there's no monetary returns. When you go for A, B, C, D, they are not users. They are all distributors, active distributors that join you. Otherwise, they would not qualify as your A, B, C, D, right? So, you need to look at, this is a very important aspect. Some people tell you that, hey, you know what, I can't do sales, I'm really not interested. And what do you say? What if I show you a business system that does not require selling? Zavis, are you there? Zavis, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, your bandwidth is terrible. We can hardly hear you. It's broken up.
Yes. Yes. Oh, no. Yeah.
Okay, anyway, Zavis understands this point very well because when I first met her, that was exactly what I said to her. Okay, and she has been shying away from network business for some time. Yeah, her bandwidth is not very good, but she can type some messages if she likes to. Okay, she has been shying away from network business for many years, right? We can't hear you because your bandwidth is terrible and it sounds broken up. You can type in there so that we can understand you better because we certainly can't hear your voice properly. But anyway, you are going to invariably meet many people that says, I want to sell machines. Now, as I said earlier, and as Romy Vandera said as well, that Kangen business is not about selling machines, it's not about selling water. Okay, but saying it isn't good enough. Your prospect must believe it. And how you get your prospect to believe that is to actually illustrate the Kangen Express system. And by the time you finish your ABCD and third generation later, you ask them, now where is the selling in this? There's no real hardcore selling. So today's session, I'm not going to show any slides, but to go through some of these pitfalls that people frequently face, so that you're more ready to actually put the Kangen Express to practice. Okay, we are past all the theory side of things. You need to put what you have learned into practice. Okay. As I said earlier, I'm going to take a break after today's Tuesday session. The next time I come on, I would like everybody to be able to do role playing and actually show me how they deal with a prospect. You have gone from, unconscious incompetence to conscious incompetence. At the end of these Zoom sessions, you're now at the level of conscious competence. But that conscious competence needs practice. Okay? So you need to practice this until the next time we come on, we're going to be looking at how close you are to unconscious competence. How close you are to having Kangen system, express system as second nature. That you meet somebody and you can start talking about the 5 major concerns for life nowadays into how you can share a business system with them where no selling is required. The main part of Kangen Express system, and what do you start with? You start with the process of, depending on who you are talking to. Now, I'm going to ask you today by saying that if this person says, I've done network business before, okay, and I face so many no's, I give up. What would be your answer? How would you talk to this prospect? You meet him, you've gone through the listing, you've gone through the invite, and now you're actually at a meeting, they realize that, oh, it is network business. Oh, I've tried this before, 5 years back, I tried it 5 times and it didn't work for me. It's not my kind of thing. What would your answer be? They will tell you that I can't handle the rejections. Everybody tells me no. What would your approach be after that? Come on, guys. You have gone through the listing, you've gone through the invite, you're now at a meeting with a prospect. They realize that it is a network business. I will avoid the marketing word. I will say network business, not network marketing business. You're not marketing anything. You're doing network business. And they tell you that, oh, this is chain marketing, network marketing, whatever. I've tried network business. I had so many rejections. My friends all tell me they are not interested. I give up. So what's your approach? So saying that, hey, I can teach you how to do sales. But the guy says, look, I'm not interested in sales. I've had so many rejections, I don't know what to do. And what is the best way to what is important is how your prospect understand you and know what you actually say. If they don't understand what you say, the best things that you say actually has no meaning for them. So let me put this to you. If a prospect tells me that they've had so many rejections that they've given up, okay, I will ask them a simple question. If you meet 10 people, if you have 10 acquaintances, do you expect all 10 to like you? No. It's impossibility. It says a few things. It's impossible to have all 10 like you. Okay? And it is a fact of life that you're going to get rejections. Some of you have heard me say that before. You just don't
Have to
remember.
accept it. But we have to
So
accept it.
I
Answer is
am now
always this.
telling the prospect is rejection is part of life, and suddenly they find out, oh, I'm not such a failure after all. It's normal to have people say no. So, Wilfred, if you meet 10 ladies, you expect all 10 to like you? I don't think so. You may meet 10 or 20 and find one or two that may.
They will disagree with you. They will come up with their own version of things.
Yes.
So you want to
So,
take it in your stride.
so my simple solution to this objection is to ask them, if they meet 10 people in daily life, do they expect all 10 to like them? No. So, rejection of this nature is part of life. And once they see that, they find out, um, they have been getting rejections, is normal. And once they see that as normal, okay, you say, okay, let me share this with you. If you could have a simple process, a simple system to make 80 likes in the first 2 years, would you be interested to know how? Okay. And the answer is always yes. I mean, who doesn't want to make 80 likes in the first year or 2 years, right? Yeah. And then he's going to ask, what do I have to do? Well, we need two simple things. Number one is you need to adopt a can do attitude, not a cannot do attitude. That's number one. Yeah, I shared the slides before. There are only two things they need to adopt. One is a can do attitude, not a cannot do attitude. Then number two is that they invest 1 to 2 hours per day every day. That's all they need to do. And then what? And then you pop the question. If you meet 10 people, how many do you think can be your friend? Oh, I think if I meet 10 people, I might be able to get 5 people to be my friends. Okay. Now, out of these 5, if you were to share a business opportunity that is simple and has only these two commitments, how many do you think would join you to make 80 likes during the first year?
Maybe one or two or three.
Maybe 1 or 2. So the answer will come back maybe 1 or 2. And then you say, okay, I'm going to take a conservative approach and say only 1. I don't even bother about 2. Let's take only 1 in 10. Okay. And then you go into the approach that, okay, the commitment is 1-2 hours per day. Let's assume that during that 1-2 hours, you're only meeting one person. You're not rushing to meet more than one person. And after 5 days, you met 5 person. After 2 weeks, you met 20 people, or you met 10 people. Okay. So that 10, you say that you have one person that would be interested to join you for this amazing business opportunity. So 1 out of 10 means you expect 9 rejections. It's statistical. It is a fact of life. It is normal. It is not unusual, that they face 9 out of 10 rejections. Suddenly they realize that, all these rejections I've been facing over the past years is quite normal. It's not something that they did not do right. Get my point? And once they can see that, they realize that, okay, it's a numbers game. I talk to 10, I get 1. I talk to 20, I get 2, right? And before you know it, you brought out a piece of paper and you sketch the Kangen Express system and show them how to make that 80 likes during the first year. You see, you make a claim, you make an offer, you better back it up. And just telling them, trust me, isn't going to do it. Okay? Tell them to believe me, I've done it, it's not going to do it. Back it up. And you back it up by bringing out a piece of paper and jotting down the 3 generations, starting with A, B, C, D. And A, B, C, D, you say, you're a student, you learn how to do A, B, C, D, then you teach. The process is about learning and duplicating, only 2 steps. There's nothing more than that. You learn and you duplicate. You teach. You learn and you teach. That's it. Everybody does the same 2 steps. The problem is that most people try to, even 2 steps, they try to shortcut. And then it fails. Okay? So what are the 6 steps required in Kangen Express? You want to type it in? Step 1 to step 6. You need to know this at the top of your head with no hesitation. You must have unconscious competence on the 6 steps. Please type it out. 1 to 6, what are they? You start with goal setting. Okay? And step number 2. Step number 2, Freedom Coffee has given a form during the basic training to make your list. Okay? List making, yes. And after the list making, what do you do?
Appointment.
During the list making, you have put, you have done the triage, on the lists, and say who are the hot prospects, who are the warm, and who are the not so warm prospects. And then you make the invitation. Okay. And from the invitation, you have the meeting, right? And it is during this meeting that we've dedicated most of our time today on how you talk to them effectively. You don't want to be too long-winded until they lose the momentum of the message. You want to be concise enough to be able to convince them and back up what you're saying very quickly. And that is a meeting. What we have done today is step number 4 of what happens at a meeting. Okay? And step number 5 is your closing. And what is the all-important question at closing? Type it out. Yes. What is the all-important question for closing? You ask the question and you shut up and listen to his answer. His answer is important because that's also self-closing, not you trying to close. After listening to the Kangen Express simple system, yes, the prospect needs to close it. What question do you ask? You ask that same question every time. After they see the simple Kangen Express, are you ready to join me as a user, as a distributor,
entrepreneur, or a
Referral.
or a referrer? These are the basic things that you all must remember off the top of your head. There's no need to refer to any more notes. These are the basic skeleton of what you must have in your head. Because all this work that you are doing leads back to the all-important question. Would you like to join me in this business opportunity? Which means a distributor. Or you would like to invest in your health rather than a business. And they are not ready for one or the other. Would you be a referrer and refer some of your contacts that may benefit from this business system or business opportunity? And whatever answer you get, you are a winner. Whatever choice they make, you walk out there as a winner. Because you've got one of the 3 choices, right? So let's say you've got the least favorable of the three answers. They say, okay, I'm not ready to join you for the business or to invest in my health, but I can be a referrer. What do? You take the referrer and you go and prospect the referrals, right? So let's say they've given you 2 referrals and you go and prospect the referrals. Okay? Assume that you have managed to, that Ashok has given you a referral, by the name of Andrew. And you pitch Andrew, and Andrew says, hey, you know what, this is exciting, I want to join you. What you go back to Ashok and you close him. Because then, by that time, your chances of closing Ashok will be 10 times better.
Yes.
And then you'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You've got both Ashok and his referral at the same time. Okay, amazing, right? So Ajay, when you're on the ship, you're going to use today's review of Kangen Express and practice over and over and over and over. And when you come back from the ship, I expect unconscious competence, an expert. So focus on your ABCD. The miscellaneous are good. They are additional business, additional income, but those are active income. You need to look at passive income, which is what happens after ABCD. Yeah.
True.
Okay, Sunita, did you like the approach?
Yes, of course. 2 birds in 1 shot. It's fantastic.
Okay. So you all need to take this. Anybody still not clear about this process of payment not done is not a closing? Okay.
Okay.
Once payment is done, you tell Ashok, I can only hold this for the next 24 hours. I need an answer back from you and it will be an amazing journey for us. And this is part of the module when I said about priorities. There are many people who can actually afford the machine. It is the priorities that they've got the wrong way around.
Yeah. So one way, what I look at it is a guilt-free business. Guilt-free, right?
Yeah. So once you have the Ashok's referral sign up, Ashok will be much more agreeable to join you immediately. Okay? And now, again, like I said, post COVID-19, we have so many silver linings.
Yes.
There are Zoom meetings every week that you can participate in. So even with the new referrer is going to tell you, I don't know this, I don't know that, there's so much to learn, I'm not ready for this. And you tell them, all you need to do is do your PP 1, 2, 3. After PP 1, 2, 3, bring them on, and you can help them to do PP 1, 2, 3. Whether on phone, on Zoom, on WhatsApp, whatever. PP 1, 2, 3 does not need to be done face to face. Okay? Once prospect priming 1, 2, 3 is done, you invite them for the Monday evening and the Thursday evening Zoom sessions.
So just to refresh everybody about this PP 1, 2, 3 is your 3 videos, PP right?
1, 2,
the Rise of the Entrepreneur.
The first step is why Kangen water. Second is why Kangen machine, and the third is why passive income.
The Rise of the Entrepreneur video.
If you ask them to join Thursday evening meetings, that covers PP 1 and 2. Join Monday evening meetings, and that takes care of PP 3. It depends on who your audience is.
Yes.
Certain audiences may find that very useful. Certain audiences may not. It may be suitable for certain audience, but it may not be for others. So you have to look at which audience you are looking at. Okay. If you're looking at a 30-year-old working community, they may not relate to that so much.
True.
Because the message last night wasn't so much of financial freedom, but more of what's after that.
So I think before we go on to this prospect invitation, we need to go through those guidelines of field coffee, profiling 1, 2, 3, right?
Yes, yes. So later, I'm going to be incorporating these skill sets into, um, what you said about the weightage of 1, 2, 3 into the prospect listing. These are all skill sets you need. You learn how to do that.